Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer. You know, Bill Gates once made a pretty fascinating admission. He said he actually looked for lazy people to hire, simply because they're the ones who inevitably find the absolute easiest, smartest way to do the hardest things. And, well, as a multi-billionaire, the guy probably knows what he's talking about. It makes you think, right? If you constantly feel lazy, what if it isn't a character flaw at all? What if it's actually a hint, a sign that your brain is wired for efficiency rather than struggle, and you've just never been given a system that actually works with that wiring? Well, today, we're going to completely reframe laziness into what it can truly be, a superpower of efficiency. So welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're exploring the lazy genius, turning burnout into beautiful momentum. Listen, if you're feeling totally exhausted, unmotivated, or you're just stuck on the couch wondering why on earth you can't seem to get moving, I want you to know you are in exactly the right place. Trust me, we have all been there. Today, we are going to dismantle that toxic grind culture together, step by step. We're going to build a daily routine that literally turns our collective supposed laziness into the massive advantage it was always meant to be. Because there is a massive, and I mean massive, difference between genuine relaxation and the pure exhaustion you might be feeling right now. Real laziness? That's peacefully enjoying doing absolutely nothing. It feels good. But what most of us are actually experiencing is way more like a laptop running with 100 tabs open at once. You know the feeling. You're physically sitting on the couch, sure, but mentally, you are completely panicking about that unfinished project, the unread messages, the goals you haven't even started yet. It is this internal, silent chaos, and it drains your energy before you even get a chance to use it. Honestly, you aren't burned out from doing too much. You are burned out from just thinking about doing too much. So, here is our simple 5-part roadmap to finally fix this. First, we'll cover the overload myth. Then, momentum over motivation. Third, designing your environment. Fourth, the low-friction daily routine. And finally, the lazy genius identity. Let's get into it. All right, kicking things off with part 1, the overload myth. Here's the thing you have to realize. Your brain isn't just stubbornly refusing to do work. What it's doing is actively refusing the intense pressure of disorganized ambition. Picture a little stick figure version of yourself. Calm, simple, totally focused. But right behind that stick figure is this giant, looming, leaning pile of absolutely everything you should have done this week. Every single time you try to take a step forward, that pile leans just a little bit more, casting this huge shadow over you. Of course you freeze. Obviously you hesitate. You aren't being lazy. You're just bracing for impact. Ambition becomes incredibly heavy when it isn't organized. And our dreams become incredibly stressful when they lack structure. So before we even try to fix anything today, you have to let go of this idea that you are broken. You're really not. You're just overloaded.
Moving right along to section 2, momentum over motivation.
We've all done this, right? We try to summon these massive, heroic amounts of motivation. But honestly, it's a total trap. What we actually need is simple forward motion. Enter what we call the one-task rule. See, when we suddenly decide to be productive, we usually try to do everything at once. We're going to clean the entire house, write a novel, learn French, and fix our whole lives by noon. And what happens? Our brain immediately gets overwhelmed and just completely shuts down. The cure for this paralyzing overthinking is actually incredibly simple. Pick just one single meaningful task for the day. Just one. One tiny thing that moves your life forward even by just 1%. We do this because your brain naturally hates chaos. Think about it like this. Imagine standing in a hallway facing 10 different doors, all fighting for your attention, all hiding important tasks. You have no idea which one to pick, so you just freeze, and the whole day slips by. Now imagine 9 of those doors just instantly disappear. Poof! You are left staring at one single, clear, unavoidable door. Suddenly, walking forward doesn't feel so heavy anymore, does it? By eliminating all but one goal, you turn achievement into something easily digestible. And the best part? Everything else you happen to get done that day is just bonus extra credit.
Okay, part 3, designing your environment.
Look, your environment is either going to be your absolute biggest support system or your biggest trap. Let me ask you something. If you had to walk across a room to reach a goal, and one path is perfectly smooth tiles, while the other is literally covered in Lego pieces, which one are you going to choose? Every single time. The smooth tiles, obviously. Nobody wants to step on Legos. We will always follow the path of least pain. Your lazy brain is actually very, very smart because it instinctively chooses whatever's closest and easiest. So we've got to use that exact instinct to our advantage. The whole trick here is to make the things you want to do ridiculously easy and the things you don't want to do just slightly annoying. Want to drink more water? Put the bottle right next to your seat. Want to write more? Leave your journal literally resting on top of your pillow. Put your gym shoes right in the middle of the floor so you physically have to trip over them. Plug your phone charger in all the way across the room so you can't endlessly scroll while lying in bed. You are not forcing discipline here, you are designing defaults. You are making winning so much easier than losing just for these really specific, super low-effort environmental tweaks.
All right, shifting to section 4, the low-friction daily routine.
Now we're going to get super practical and build a daily system out of this. We're looking at 3 simple daily touch points: morning, afternoon, and night. And please notice these are not heavy chores. You know, influencers love to sell you on these 40-minute ice baths and grueling 5 a.m. workouts. We are absolutely not doing that. What we're building is a connected, lightweight ecosystem that spans your day and actually works even when your energy is at rock bottom. Let's start with the morning. 10 seconds. Literally, that is all you need for the morning reset. When you wake up, before the world starts demanding a million things from you, take one slow breath and just declare in your mind, today is a new file, not yesterday's. Because honestly, what ruins our day usually isn't the tasks in front of us, it's the leftover emotional dust from yesterday. It's the guilt of all the work we didn't finish. This 10-second mental wipe just hands you a clean blank page.
Next up is the 2-minute resistance trick, and this one is a real game changer. Most of the things we constantly avoid don't even take that long to do. It's just the thought of starting that completely drains us. So, if a task feels way too heavy, just tell your brain you're only going to work on it for 2 minutes. You're not finishing it, just 2 minutes. Your brain literally can't fight 2 minutes. It's way too small of a commitment to be afraid of. And what usually happens? You type one sentence, you pick up one piece of laundry, and suddenly, poof, the mental friction is gone. You're in motion. 2 minutes easily turns into 10, and you've completely broken the paralysis.
Then we hit the afternoon reboot. Your day doesn't end at noon, but your energy sure feels like it does, right? When you notice that dreaded afternoon slump creeping in, please do not surrender to the narrative that your whole day is just ruined. Instead, do one tiny physical action. Take a quick walk, chug a glass of ice-cold water, or literally just go stand by an open window for a second. Think of it like, tapping the side of an old TV to clear the static. You are just giving your body a physical signal, a mini reboot, to remind it what it's supposed to be doing. You just restart the system.
And finally, the night wind down. You absolutely have to intentionally drop your emotional luggage, or your mind is never, ever going to actually rest. Try this. Sit down, take one really slow breath, and say this out loud to yourself. Today is complete. Tomorrow can have the rest. It is incredibly important to give your day a quiet ending, a soft landing. You are actively protecting your energy for the future, instead of just wasting it on overthinking late into the night. And that brings us to our final section, Part 5. The lazy genius identity. This right here is the ultimate transformation we've been building toward this whole time. We're moving far away from that loud, dramatic, grinded-out discipline and stepping into quiet and visible consistency. See, real consistency happens when your routine becomes so incredibly easy that your lazy brain doesn't even bother fighting it anymore. Consistency isn't about grinding. It is entirely about identity. By stacking up these laughably small, totally friction-free daily wins, like the 10-second reset or that 2-minute trick, you're providing constant, undeniable evidence to your brain. You're making it say, hey, maybe I am just the kind of person who naturally gets things done. You permanently shift who you are. Picture a tiny version of yourself standing at the edge of this massive, incredibly complicated maze. For years, you've probably tried to sprint through it, force your way through, knock down the walls, and you just end up totally exhausted and completely lost. But mazes aren't solved by sheer brute force. They never are. They're solved by steady, intentional movement, by taking just one calm step in the right direction every single day. The complex problems in your life are solved by design, not by sheer discipline. So, I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought. Are you ready for your version of growth? Not a picture-perfect version, definitely not the grinding, exhausting version that fitness influencers are always trying to sell you, but a softer, much smarter version. A version that's actually built for the ambitious, yet beautifully, strategically lazy person you are. Remember this. You aren't behind, you aren't broken, and you certainly aren't late. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, everyone. Go ahead and take that one calm step today, and I will catch you in the next one.